and welcome to Talking Tent, a podcast about movies, TV, and all the content we can possibly consume.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Irma.
We are a married couple whose love of TV and movies cannot be contained, so we've decided to share our thoughts, opinions, cheers, and occasional jeers with the world. We are back after one short week off, and we've got big TV to cover. Lots of things happened. Two major shows came back in succession, and Yellowjackets shrinking ended. Ted Lasso's back. Mando continues. So let's jump right onto the couch, get in our comfies, and talk the big return of the week. Dun dun the best theme song. I love it. Is it the best theme song? Currently, I'm not even going to say ever, get all controversy. It's the best theme song right now.
I agree.
With White Lotus.
Yeah. Well, I feel like HBO does.
HBO, Game of Thrones, I was going to say, is also up there.
Yeah, like they just do really good theme songs. The only one I didn't like recently was Last of Us. That one just, I don't know, it bothered me, but I guess it was supposed to bother you.
That was more the visuals, I think. The mushrooms.
No, Succession's theme song is so good.
Oh, it's so good. Great,
you're not going to be able to get that out of your head now.
All right, so we find ourselves right back in the thick of the Roy family drama. It's Logan's birthday. The kids aren't there. The kids have now fully cooed, and the kids are in California in like what seems like it's Roman's house.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
In LA, thinking up a new schemes. And apparently we care about Pierce again, and everybody wants to buy Pierce. Why? I don't know.
So what I've gathered, so just from my like recollection from last season, it's similar to like what Fox did, what the guy who owned Fox did. He basically sold off most of his company, but kept Fox News. So that's what they're doing. They're selling off major bits of the company to Gojo, but just keeping ATN. And so that's why who's the dad?
Logan.
And that's why Logan wants Pierce. It's basically like Condé Nast, let's say. Yeah, to like round out his smaller portfolio. And then for the kids, they like want to start this company called The 100, which sounds like really awesome, but also like it exists already.
It's the stupidest name. On
I
purpose.
kind of liked it.
It's the stupidest name
whatever.
On purpose.
I mean, it makes sense for them, like in this world, you know? And like, I think Roman is obviously like the most right in all of this. Like I think he also just doesn't like conflict, and he just wants to stay out of it as much as possible. But I see where Kendall and Shiv are coming from. This is already an established brand. Why not go after it rather than like building something from scratch that could possibly not even work?
Yeah, it seems like not for the first time, more and more, if I'm remembering correctly, Roman is kind of the voice of reason, and Shiv and Kendall are really just trying to screw Logan, whether they want to admit it or not. They kind of admit it, but they also delude themselves into thinking it's a good idea to spend $10 billion on a news agency just to shove it to Logan.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they definitely are overspending like crazy, but I'm excited to see where it goes, to be honest.
Are you? I'm not. The dialogue and the characters are so good that it makes you not care that we're just doing this whole thing again. And do you actually care who buys Pierce? I don't even know what Pierce is. I don't care about them at all. It's like a Condé Nast. Yeah, but I don't care at all. Like, do I have a rooting interest in that? Sure, I guess the whole series you kind of are rooting for the kids. Just because Logan is so horrible. But I don't know, like the plot of the show hasn't really progressed. And let me get this out of the way. It's fantastic. The dialogue is so funny and it's so clever. And every line, it's easily the best dialogue on TV. Not even close. And some of the best characters. But the plot is boring. Like the plot is meaningless. I don't really. Like we're just doing another deal. This is like the 5th time we've watched this episode, if not more.
Sure, I just feel like it's the first episode. They're
Yeah.
just getting us back into the world. I don't know. They're getting us up to speed on what's going on. Like, I'm fine with it. I mean, I expect Succession to start somewhat slow and then really build. And then, like, this is kind of like almost a catalyst for this season because it does make Logan pissed, you know, and like he understands what they're trying to do to him. So I just think this is just going to like propel the storyline. And this is also the final season. So it's just like, I want to know what happens, you know, like, do you think they are going to reconcile? Like, do you think also like the show's called Succession? Like, if Logan doesn't die and pass on this company, then like, I don't know what the whole point of the entire show was. So yeah, I expect this season to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. It's the best. But I hope that this was just kind of a reintroduction. Like, all right, here's something very familiar to you. It's been a while. Let's just get all the characters back in 2 different rooms and kind of doing their bits. The disgusting brothers, fantastic. Greg and Tom back at it again. And then the kids are all together now fully. So that is a little different. That at least is a change that Kendall and Shiv and Roman are seemingly on the same page. So I'm fine with this being the first episode. But the plot has to move a little bit more, especially because it is the final season, which I assume it will. It's definitely just an intro, a reintroduction. Get us in a familiar place. Have all the great dialogue as it always does. I actually think it's all gonna go horribly wrong, at least as far as the company. I don't think anybody's gonna feel satisfied at the end of this. This is kind of there's like a weird meaning to this whole show. One meaning that these people are so rich that nothing bad can ever happen to them. So what's actually going to happen is going to be, instead of being multi billionaires who are on top of the world controlling the media, they're just going to have billions of dollars but be upset about it. But I think ultimately nobody is succeeding anything. I think the company is going to implode from the inside because they're just going to keep spending their own money to try and one up each other. And it's all going to fall apart because network news is dying and they're fighting for all these things that no one is watching anymore. And they're spending $10 billion for a thing that's not going to exist in a few years. And it's all a dick swinging competition between the kids and the dad. And that's how I see the season. The whole series ending is just, they'll still be rich and totally fine, but nobody's going to be happy. Nobody's going to have won, quote unquote, the succession or the battle or who's next.
Yeah, I don't think that's what I was saying. I mean, Jesse Armstrong, the showrunner, has said, like, or even just like talked about that he's a liberal. Like, this is supposed to be an indictment on the top 1%. Like, this is not supposed to make anyone look good. And I don't think it has. So I am not saying like this is going to be like a jolly ending that we're all just going to feel good at the end. Like, I think it's meant to show us how horrible these people are. I think that's the point. But I am very curious to see like how far they can fall, like morally, physically. I don't know. I mean, Kendall has already killed someone and gotten away with it. Like, I don't know, like, this is just horrible people doing horrible things. And let's hope that maybe they won't get away with it. Like, let's hope that maybe somehow they will get caught. I don't know, like,
get their comeuppance.
Yeah, get their comeuppance. Though
I wouldn't.
No, I know. I doubt that
happening.
that's going to happen because like they never do. But I don't think it's supposed to be like, oh, look at these people. They're so rich and they deserve all of this. Well, no, I don't think that's the point.
Definitely not. Nobody's saying that. I'm just saying nobody's succeeding anything.
Yeah.
The only way for this story to end is in disaster. But we'll see. Like, what's it going to be? Freaking Bran takes over the kingdom? Like, no. You know, it's not going to end like that.
I think it will end like that. Like, that's kind of the point. Like, I don't think the kids are going to end up succeeding Logan. Like, I actually think it's probably going to be Cousin Greg or something stupid. Greg. Like, it's going to be like the worst person for the job.
The disgusting brother.
Yeah.
Cousin Greg. The line, oh my God, the fingers. It's so smart.
Good.
It's so smart when there's just so many good lines. That's why I know we've been talking about the plot that I just said I don't care about, but the dialogue is just so funny and so smart, so quick. Just every line is perfect. Even I don't care who buys Pierce, and I'm riveted for an hour of these people just talking. It's crazy. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Next big return of the season. Yellowjackets is back. I really, really liked season 1. I was excited for it. I know it became quite hyped because it actually succeeded in what it was trying to do. But I remember coming into season 1, like, okay, this looks very interesting. Great concept. Spooky. Y'all know I love something spooky. And it fully delivered. And now we are back and they're expanding on the story. So we find ourselves back in the familiar place. The girls are in the woods. The adults are in their suburbs. And we're introducing new people. And we immediately learn Lottie is alive and a cult leader.
Yeah, I feel like we knew she was alive. Maybe not. But
I don't know. They might have hinted at it because they showed the symbol season 1 around. So it seemed like the women knew, obviously. They obviously knew she was alive, but I don't think they definitely didn't show her. That actress was not in the show.
No, she wasn't. I mean, I think Lottie's expanded storyline is the most intriguing to me. Her storyline, I think, is going to carry the season. Like, I'm so excited to learn so much more about her.
Yeah, I guess Shauna and the big-eyed girl kind of carried season 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lottie is definitely kind of the most pivotal character in the whole show. And Christina Ricci, another great scene. She's just so fun. I love that she's fun and crazy, and she leans so far into it with what was the scene? When she was
the interrogation.
Right, the fake interrogation, the practice interrogation. And she's just like, she doesn't give an F and she pulls no punches, and I love it. The Shauna storyline, that kind of
bothered me.
The whole general vibe, I don't actually really love the adults at all.
Really? Oh, I like them.
Well, except for the fact that they're the famous actresses, and like the actresses themselves, I think are really good. Like Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci and Melanie Linsky, and all of them are great. And I don't think the show gets made without having this story of it's the girls in the woods, and then we're seeing them as adults.
Well, they also introduced a new timeline to this episode, which I thought was really interesting, and I can't wait to explore it more, is like when they are rescued. So what is that?
Oh, right, they did show that.
That's like a year and a half later, I think. So yeah, because I think they showed like Lottie getting electroshock therapy and everything. So I am kind of curious to see like what happens in that storyline.
Right, they showed like probably, let's say, the first year they're actually home. So still in 19-year-olds.
Yeah, so that'll also be the teen actresses who you say you like better. So
it's not even the actors. All of the actors on it are great.
No, I know.
But just like the story in the woods is far more compelling.
Yeah, of course.
And then the other one is just kind of like, it seems forced. And I don't think the show gets made without the idea of, all right, we're showing these girls in the woods. It's like Lord of the Flies. But then imagine Lord of the Flies 20 years later, and what are they up to? That's the elevator pitch that gets made. Without that, it doesn't get made. But I feel like when they were thinking about what would happen, they started to hit a wall, and they're like, let's have this. That's our main character stab someone because her husband is doing blackmail to pay for money, and then they totally clean it up. And there's just like a few things. It seems like two different shows almost.
Yeah, I almost feel like they kind of lost the thread a little bit. Like, I want to say there was like something that like I heard about, like that like the timelines didn't add up, like something happened. They're kind of like retconning a little bit. So that's the only thing I don't love. Like there would be things that happen to them, maybe in the woods, or maybe they honestly forget, maybe they just want to forget what happened. And so like when it happens in the adult life, they're like not remembering. I don't know. There's just like weird things like that.
Some of the things with the adults, the arts, when Shauna and her husband, Jeff, go to the art studio of the guy,
Adam.
and it's just absurd. Like stuff like that, that's so on the nose, bothers me a little bit, where it becomes, obviously this is not a true story. And obviously it's a bit silly. And yeah, sure, you go with it because it's a show. But just like the art studio was ridiculous. Every single wall and painting was just like, Shauna. It's like, oh my God, my muse.
No, it was 2 walls. But like, so there's a theory out there because we also don't know what happened to Avi, which is
Who's Avi?
The little brother that they're out looking for.
Oh, yes.
So maybe he's still alive and maybe he makes it back. And maybe Shauna and Travis and Avi have like lost touch, you know, like, so maybe that was Avi that she was sleeping with, who changed his name to Adam.
I don't think that's a good theory. They don't look anything alike.
How would you know?
I don't know, because one,
it's an adult.
Yeah, but they're like Hispanic, right? As kids, and that guy was just a white ass dude.
I don't think I don't know. I think he was ambiguous.
So
I mean, it's just a theory.
That kid was obsessed with Shauna, was he?
Yeah, he was in love with her.
Either way, silly. And then the grill.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was,
is insane. Like, things can be subtle. They're doing a good job with the girls, because things don't have to be subtle when you're in the woods and everybody's gonna die. But you can hint at the daughter understanding that her parents did something wrong without having the tiny little picture of the guy's license, just the only thing that didn't burn.
Yeah, it was a bit strange.
Just make it a light, like the hint of a corner of a license. Don't make it the picture, because then your audience is like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like, you can get the same outcome by just showing something tiny where the girl is going to know it's a burnt license. Like, what else would it be? And she already knew that they were having an affair, and she knows that the guy is missing. So like, you put the pieces together and obviously something horrible happened. He doesn't have to have the tiny pictures, the only thing that didn't burn. Because then we just start being like, come on, this is stupid.
So how do you feel about the whole supernatural element of it? Like, I almost want it to be more supernatural, to be honest.
Totally agree. But I think again, with the adult storyline, they're making it kind of like it can't be that supernatural because it's grounded too much in reality. Whereas I just like the girls in the woods storyline way better.
Yeah.
And it just works better. It's a horror show at that point. And then the adult storyline is like Desperate Housewives almost. Like, it's a soap opera. It's weird.
I know. Do you feel like it's like comparable to Lost? Like, you're a big Lost fan. You watched how many seasons of it was
All
it?
All of them. I don't know.
11? 10?
No, I think it was like 7.
Do you feel like it could be comparable? Like, I feel like that had a lot of supernatural elements.
Yeah. Kind of. I think, well, it's a lot spookier than Lost. But yeah, Lost opened up a lot more questions where I don't think this does. But maybe. I mean, the supernatural, I do really like it, but I feel like they already closed the door on all of that being possible. But maybe not. They can blow it wide open with like Lottie having powers, but she doesn't really have to have powers. You just kind of hint at it more.
Well,
but with the adults, it's just shut. Like, it's just I feel like it kills the vibe when you just show them just being kind of just weird women.
Sure. Well, they haven't shown Lottie yet.
Yeah, they did. She was a cult leader.
Yeah, I understand, but not like really. They showed her for what, like a minute, not even.
Sure.
So like, she could be like, I honestly think, and the way they portray her is kind of like a conduit to like a spiritual realm, because she sees things, she feels things. They showed that kind of when she put her hand on Travis's chest. And then I don't know if he saw what she was seeing or it was just her that was seeing it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm so curious about her. And then, so I have a question for you.
Ooh.
Where they take, oh my God, what's her character's name?
Nat,
yeah. So where they take Nat, they kidnap her.
Yeah.
And she winds up in a cabin in the woods. Do you think those woods are the same?
Ooh.
That
seems like very far.
could happen. Are they in Seattle? They're in Seattle, right?
I forget where the adults are or where they started.
I mean, I know they were in New Jersey, but I wasn't sure if they were all still in New Jersey. They probably are, actually.
Yeah, they're East Coasters.
Yeah. Okay, well, whatever. I mean, she could have. We don't know how long she was out for.
It's definitely possible. That would be interesting. I don't
also,
see.
because like that's where I think. So in the beginning, Lottie was on medication, and then the plane crash happened. She couldn't take her meds anymore, and then she started. I don't even think she started. She already had these abilities. Like I think they showed a flashback in the first season of her like seeing a car crash come. And her parents, I guess, like got freaked out by that, put her on medication. And now that she's off her medication, she's back to being that seeing self, I guess.
Or delusional.
Sure. But I think there's a very fine line between that. I don't know. I find it so interesting. I can't wait to see where it goes. I really want them to lean more into the supernatural and maybe less of the adults, even though I do really like the adults. So I don't know.
Yo, Christina Ricci and Juliette Lewis are great.
Yeah.
Melanie Linsky's okay. She's like too straight. She's like, she has to be the straight woman. I don't mean sexually, like, you know, in a comedy or whatever. It's like there's one that's just
a
like
serious person. Yeah.
She's just like, if she was crazy, like literally all of the other women. Well, I guess she is crazy. She did kill a man.
Yeah, but like, she ate her friend's ear.
Well, yeah, that was as a kid. But like, she's the one that got married and has a kid and is kind of normal.
Also, what do you think happened to her baby? She's pregnant.
Oh, right.
In the woods.
No, isn't that's the daughter?
No, that daughter is a teenager.
So how many years?
25 years.
25, yeah, you're... I always thought that was the daughter.
No.
That daughter's in high school.
Yeah.
And they say it's 25 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1996 to 2022, 2021.
I guess that'll be another big reveal. Another thing that, so I think I said this when we were just looking forward to the show coming back, is I feel like they shouldn't have shown the adults until later because, and this gets back to, so they started letting other girls talk. And at first it seems weird, like, oh, all of a sudden the girls in the woods are talking. I forget one of their names. Two of them had speaking roles who had not spoken in the first season. And you have to realize that it's because they're going to die. And we have to start caring about some of the people that are going to die.
I don't know. What if they meet another group of people? And it's like...
Now you're getting straight into Lost. Now it's just Lost. The others?
Yeah, maybe.
No way.
I just don't think there's enough people. They've showed that scene of all the people like sitting and then the girl running, and there's a lot of them there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So we know the problem is that everybody that spoke in season 1, except for Big Eyes Girl. I can't.
What are you talking about?
The girl that died, the only one that died, the one that's frozen that Sean is talking to now. Big Eyes Girl's name is Jackie. The one that was Shauna's best friend who was dating Jeff, and then Shauna was sleeping with Jeff. So basically everybody that spoke in season 1, we know is alive because we see them as adults. And then they've showed enough that we know that Lauren Ambrose is coming as grown-up Van. And because they showed that in the trailer, and she's in the credits. I'm looking at her right now on IMDb. So Lauren Ambrose, who's in Servant and from 6 Feet Under. So basically every character is alive that we know. So it kind of kills that. So they have to add more characters because somebody's getting eaten.
Well, Coach, whatever that guy, the one with the one leg, he's...
True. We don't know about him.
Yeah, we don't know about him. And then there was another girl when Misty was by stirring the pot, told her to get away. She's like, she looks Asian. She's not alive as an adult. I don't know. There's been characters in the background that have spoken. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, but we'll see where it goes. I still really like it. I know it sounds like I'm complaining a bit. I like it. I'm still riveted by it. Just some of the adult stuff is like, Thais is crazy. That's another one. It's like they thought of this storyline of her going off into the woods by herself and eating dirt. So they couldn't just have her as an adult be totally fine. But like also the woman, I guess because she had it, she suppressed it for a while. And now that all this stuff is coming back, it's all coming back. But the woman she lived with, she was like totally fine for that long. And then now it's just a disaster. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely interesting. I'm interested to see what happens, even though we kind of know what happens. I think that's my main gripe.
What do you mean we know what happened?
Like the girl's storyline is the most compelling, I think, but we know what happens because it's essentially a prequel because they're already showing all of them, even though it's at the same show. Like we know some of them are going to die and it's still disturbing, but we know all the people that live and where they are now. So like what's going to happen that's surprising?
We'll have to see.
I guess where the daughter is. I didn't even think of, or the baby.
Yeah, of course, the baby.
Maybe she's in
the cult.
maybe the baby doesn't work out because it gets very violent. Maybe they
eat the baby.
Ooh, that would be brutal. That would be brutal if they eat the baby.
I don't know. Can stars do that?
No, I don't think so. Showtime.
Showtime. Sorry.
All right, that switched gears. It gets dark on eating the baby.
Yeah.
Shrinking. Finished. Should I sing that song? I forget it. It's Ben Gibbard. Actually, he wrote that song for the show, which I can I carry the weight. Anyway, the guy from
Postal Service,
Death Cab and Postal Service wrote the song for the show. At first, I just thought it was a Death Cab song, and then I looked it up, and he wrote that song specifically for the show, which is really cool.
That is cool.
But yeah, Shrinking ended. We loved it. Again, we just love. Sometimes you just need a sentimental show, but it was actually really funny. That was the big difference.
Funny.
Like the lines and all of the banter was actually funny. It wasn't just sappy and make you feel good or make you feel bad, depending on what they were talking about. Like Jessica Williams was hilarious. Jason Segel's always hilarious. Harrison Ford was great. Grumpy Guy, the daughter, was great. All the characters were really great. And I actually found myself when we switched. So when Ted Lasso came back, which we'll get to, I found myself kind of bored by Ted Lasso because Shrinking just took all of the emotional weight that Ted Lasso had. And it just feels like Ted Lasso now feels like I don't care as much. There's just not, the story has kind of lost itself.
Yeah. I agree with that. But it's all the same people, right?
Yeah, I think it's like one. I don't think it's all the same people, but they're definitely related somehow. So like one of the producers, I think, is the same.
Well, no, I thought it was the guy, the really grumpy guy on Ted Lasso. Yeah, it was him.
Brett Goldstein.
Yeah,
right. Roy Kent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I thought it was on this. He wrote this.
I think so. I think he's definitely involved somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he was run out of ideas. It's almost like the Star Wars thing that we were talking about with Filoni. Yeah. It's just. He took all the ideas to somewhere else, and
this is a very different type of show. No, I feel like they're not really comparable, but
to Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Well, no, because there was a lot more like interpersonal drama in the first 2 seasons, and Ted being depressed, and now he just moved. All of that is just in Shrinking, and now Ted Lasso is just about football.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I
still
also
talking
think
about
like Jason Segel brings a lot of that.
Oh yeah,
he just very different characters.
He is the best
sad boy,
sad guy, but like in a hopeful way. Everything he's in, he does it so well. Just I love how they ended it. Well, almost.
No, we actually hated the last
how
10
they
minutes.
Got close to the end.
The wedding, the wedding was beautiful.
The wedding was wonderful.
The sentiments.
And then I don't know why they have shows think that they have to end on these cliffhangers. Industry did the same thing. If you go back to our favorite shows of last year, I talked about Industry season 2 and how fantastic it was, except for the last 5 minutes that just didn't make sense and killed the vibe of everything they built. This was even more drastic because yes, there was obviously the understanding that what he was doing was dangerous, quote unquote, as Irma likes to say. And obviously, like a real psychologist would just, I guess, not get away with what he did with Sean. Like they hinted at it with Harrison Ford being like, now Sean's living with him and sure. Like the idea is that he's doing experimental psychology and it probably wouldn't fly in the real world. but we don't have to really bear the consequences of that. We know that. And this is a show about a guy and a family and a group of people dealing with the death of their wife, mom, close friend, whatever. And, building relationships and building around that. It's not about a bad psychologist who gets in trouble. Like, we know next season, he's going to wiggle out of this. What is he going to jail? Like, why have this beautiful dancing moment with his daughter saying, you look just like your mom, and we're all crying, and then have like this tertiary character be like, ooh, look what's going to happen next season. Jason's getting in trouble. Like,
Yeah.
It just killed the vibe.
It really did kill the vibe. It just didn't make sense.
And if you wanted to do that, fine. Again, I'm arguing.
But then do it next season. It didn't need to be this season.
Or do it way earlier. So do it before the wedding.
Yeah.
And then obviously Jason Segel doesn't know anything about it, but we know that eventually it's catching up to him while he's giving this beautiful speech and everything is fine. And we can still be watching it be beautiful and end with the beauty, just kind of knowing things are going wrong next season. Because like the show is about like a beautiful, fun, happy, sad, dealing with emotions, not a bad psychologist or like a questionable psychologist.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's just odd. The last 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, it was 30 seconds. It was like a stinger of a Marvel movie.
I know.
Like,
it definitely like annoyed me that it ended like that, because it's also like, I love this show. Like, it really makes me so happy every time we watch it. And now like that's what I'm also going to be thinking about, is that like it ended the season like just on a stupid note. And I'm just like, it kind of like makes me mad.
Yeah. But I just wonder, maybe they'll use that for him to, I don't know. Maybe Harrison Ford didn't want to be on it anymore. So somehow they're going to have to part. Of like, I don't know.
Well,
I just
Harrison
don't really
Ford
know.
needs to freaking take a break. This old man,
he's working real
he's
hard
a national
lately.
treasure and needs to calm down. I mean, Christ, how many kids does he have? He can't have that many kids that he needs to keep working.
He just loves it, I guess.
I know.
He loves the craft. But he was great. He's the best he's been in so long.
Yeah.
Grumpy guy. Apparently, we learned based on kind of the Stutz psychologist that Jonah Hill made the documentary on Netflix. But, I kind of hinted at it. Ted Lasso started. Now we're in what? That was episode 3? Or was it only episode 2?
I think it was only episode 2.
Now, well, they're way longer now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it. I haven't liked this season. I in the middle of the show, I said, we're in the season 3 doldrums with another show we're about to talk about. That it just it's lost something. And it lost, like I said, with Shrinking, the sentimentality, the caring of the people. And we're kind of just redoing certain things. And then I also found myself thinking they should not have been this high a level of English football. Because now that we're in the Premier League and they're playing Chelsea, it starts to feel really stupid. Like, this is not possible. An American that still doesn't understand soccer. Like, he would learn
Ted
soccer.
Doesn't do anything really.
Yeah,
everyone else does it.
He's like the emotional coach, and then Beard is the one that understands it. But at least when they had the other coach that now left for West Ham, he was like, okay, so at least there's someone that really understands the X's and O's. Now it's like Beard, who's also an American who kind of understands it, and I guess Roy, but
Nathan,
who they made the villain. Because they
which
had
is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, it just, even though, again, I was just saying how you can kind of suspend disbelief of like, yeah, he's a bad psychologist or not even bad, but just like questionable. Okay, he's a bad soccer coach, but it's more about the emotion. But lately, these past 2 episodes have not been about the emotion. It's about them literally winning or losing. Like, it's been mostly about football, like actual soccer.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like yada, 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 we're a family. And it's, we're like, they should have just made it lower soccer leagues so that we never had to be like, there's just no chance this team would ever even get close to a Chelsea or be in the locker room looked terrible. Unless there's in Stamford Bridge in London, unless I just don't know that Chelsea Stadium sucks. But like the locker room was awful and it's insane. They're one of the biggest football clubs in the entire world. Like, it would be beautiful. It's got to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And it
like
was
even
terrible.
the
It was like a
visitors would
high
be
school.
beautiful.
Yeah. And like they should have. So now that we've been introduced to shows like Wrexham with Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, they could have just made this soccer club like 3 levels down, and all the drama would be the same. We still care about Wrexham and whether they're going to get promoted. We know they're never going to be in the Premier League. I mean, who knows? 15 years, who knows? But
they got
like
the money.
They're not even close to the Premier League at this point.
Yeah.
But we still care about them. It's still like winning and losing. But you know, like soccer, Ted Lasso could have been there. Maybe they just didn't think it would have as big of a draw if they weren't playing into the Premier League. But now it feels silly that they're in the Premier League.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to shout out Hannah Waddingham. She is so stunning and I just love her. I don't know. I think her and Ted, great duo.
Will they or won't they?
They will not,
They
but
will
that's
not.
okay.
They've even lost that thread.
Yeah. Well, and they also lost the Juno Temple and Brett Goldstein thread, which is like, fine, you need them to, I guess, break up, but I don't know. Now it's kind of like, why do we care about Juno Temple's character? Like, it doesn't really make sense. Even though I understand she does marketing for them, but yeah, it just all kind of is starting to feel a little stale.
Yeah, well, now they're bringing the new guy. Now that we like Jamie, they're bringing in a new Jamie
to
be like the antagonist of the team. But they're also trying to convince us that they could compete with Chelsea if some master guy from the Spanish league were to come over.
Italian.
You know, was it from? Oh yeah, he left Roma. Or
yeah,
whatever.
Remember because they started doing the Italian in the bar.
So I mean, I guess in theory that's possible, but we also all know.
Also, you didn't do the Ted Lasso theme song.
I forget it.
It's the
yeah, Marcus Mumford. That was definitely close.
That wasn't even close. Cut that out, please.
Yeah, let's continue on with maybe some negative vibes. We started off strong, even though I had some slightly negative things to say about Succession and Yellowjackets. Still thoroughly enjoyed those. Ted Lasso, Shrinking Great. Ted Lasso, Mando, The Mandalorian, just in case anybody doesn't know. Now we're halfway through season 3, and I'm just gonna say it's bad. It's not even like, yeah, maybe we'll get there. We're not getting there. There's nothing to get to, I don't think.
Yeah, it's really strange. I don't really understand. So my biggest gripe is at the end of season 2, Din Djarin, who is the quote unquote Mandalorian, and Grogu were separated. Grogu was training with Luke. Din was off on whatever adventure. And this was at the end of season 2. So I thought, okay, so season 3, we'll see how they find their way back to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then that happened in Boba Fett. And I just don't understand why they wouldn't have put that as part of season 3 of The Mandalorian. I just feel like it really undercut this season of TV. And then we thought, okay, so maybe it is about Din finding the living waters and being baptized again. So he could be a part of the creed and all of that. But then that happened in what, the 2nd episode? And it's just kind of like, okay, so now what? Now what's the point? And I don't know. I'm not usually one that like needs like an endpoint, but I do just want to understand what is happening. Like, I just feel like maybe the show is called The Mandalorian for a reason and maybe not solely about Din Djarin, let's say. I feel like they're kind of passing the mantle on to Bo-Katan, who is like feeling like she's the main character of this season, which
sure
I actually really like. I like Bo-Katan a lot.
We had previously said Bo-Katan is the best character.
Yeah, I mean, she is the best character. Yeah. So maybe, and she's also a Mandalorian. So why can't the Mandalorian be about her now? Because I kind of almost feel like Din Djarin and Grogu's story, it's not like over, but they almost just like, I don't know, next to Bo-Katan, they just, all the Mandalorians look so lame. They look so bad. I truly don't understand how they have survived this long. I mean, they're freaking on a planet that they keep getting like eaten. Their kids keep getting stolen and they do nothing about it. The kid was stolen for what, like 3 days? And they just kind of sat around trying to figure out what to do. It's like, oh my God, have some gumption, like do something about it.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
The Din and Grogu's story was kind of over. They ended it, and then marketing said, no, you didn't end it. Bring it back.
Well, no, Grogu, I think, is going to play a very bigger role.
Sure.
But it just like, I don't know. The fact that he's just so saddled with Din, and I love him. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Pedro Pascal, like, can do no wrong. But really, they've made him look just like such a joke. Like, he freaking walked into the water and then just sank to the bottom like a stone.
True.
It just like feels so strange. Like that wouldn't happen to him. Like,
Yeah,
I
and
don't know.
he got smoked by those other dudes that then Bo-Katan came in and just destroyed them.
Exactly.
But maybe that's kind of on purpose.
And
he's gonna. They're like hinting at that. I keep wanting to say Baby Yoda. Grogu
Yeah.
is gonna have to save him. I mean, I guess that makes sense at one point. But yeah, there is like no through line anymore. They had the main storyline of Din and Grogu out on the run, and people were coming after them, and there was always someone on their heels.
Yeah.
And so like that was always the challenge. And now there's not that, and there isn't really an antagonist. There's nothing that they're fighting against. They're, in theory, trying to reestablish the Mandalores and potentially go back to the planet. But like they're all together. We're seeing all of these people together. They're just on a different planet in a stupid little beach that they never leave.
And it looks like kind of shitty.
It looks really bad. The show looks really bad. And you would think like they kind of made a big deal about, or not a big deal, but it was widely known that, all right, it's very successful. The budget should go up. And they've traveled a little bit to other planets. So it's not like they're just stuck in the desert planet, sure. But we also all know it's just in the volume, and them doing the not repelling because they were going up, but to go get the kid from the dragon nest.
Yeah.
It looked horrible. It looked like that scooter race from Boba Fett. Like just slow and stupid. And I get that sometimes Star Wars is campy, and that's kind of part of it. But like it never looked stupid. And it has, this season has just been.
That's what I'm saying. The Mandalorians in general, they just look lame.
Yeah, there's just nothing that I'm rooting for. Like there is no plot. There is nothing that's happening.
Yeah.
Like what has happened in 4 episodes that is going to be.
Like there's nothing like this week, like well, obviously we're going to keep watching, but there's nothing that like, I don't know. I just feel like there's always something that we're building towards. Like, I don't really know what we're building towards anymore.
Yeah,
like maybe it is to go back to Mandalore, but then like they haven't really established that. Like,
well, they just haven't showed us why that's really important other than this is the way. Like there's only so far that this is the way is getting me.
I know.
That I'm like, all right, so you're all together anyway. It's just a different planet.
It was kind of like what you were saying earlier. Like when you are all the straight man, like it's hard to like have any personality, any like they're so uncharismatic.
Yeah, Bo-Katan just like is the only one.
Yeah, she's the only one I care about at this point.
But
I mean,
now
besides
she's becoming
Grogu,
lame also because she's following the way.
I know. Well, I don't think she's gonna like continue.
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, obviously protect Grogu at all costs. Like I absolutely adore him. Yeah, he is probably the only real reason why I watch this show. It's like every time he's on screen, I just squeal. So anyway.
Yeah, I think some of the Star Wars stuff. So we had been watching The Bad Batch, and we actually haven't watched the last few because it got boring.
That's also for children.
Sure, but kind of. I just feel like maybe the Star Wars world, if you're super into it, I bet there's things about this season of The Mandalorian. Like they showed Grogu in the Order 66 situation. So like we all kind of knew that Anakin like had to be involved with Grogu and what happened at the Jedi Temple, just with the timing and where he was and who he was training with. Like, and they kind of showed that. And then he got rescued. So that's
we should say he got rescued by the person who played
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, the person who played Jar Jar Binks. I think that was kind of amazing.
Yeah, they let that guy have a little bit of redemption, I guess.
Yeah, gotta save Grogu, the thing that fans care about the most.
Yeah, so I guess that's pretty cool, but it was just in like a weird side story. It just seems really disjointed this season, which is very disappointing.
Yeah.
Andor was really good because you know what? It didn't like it stayed in its lane and it didn't try and do too much. And there was like real stakes. And this, I guess, is a little more lighthearted, but there's just no stakes anymore. It doesn't feel like there's anything happening. But again, I don't know. Sometimes the worlds are just too big. And if everything has to connect to the next big thing, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where the rest of the season goes.
Continuing on our big TV catch up, we got a little comedy corner. So Irma and I wanted to just shout out a show called Grand Crew on NBC. It's your classic sitcom, similar to Friends, I guess.
I feel like it's more like happy endings, to be honest.
Sure. But it's great. It's so funny.
It's so funny.
It's a group of friends. They're always at a wine bar, and it's just hilarious. Carl Tart's on it, Nicole Byer.
Who plays Sherman?
Carl Tart.
Okay, he is the best.
Yeah, he's the only person I know. I don't know the rest of the actors.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nicole
Yeah,
Byer.
he's hilarious. He honestly, everything that comes out of his mouth is just a zinger. Like, he's so funny.
Yeah, so fully recommend it. It's just a great, group of friends having a good time, going through their ups and downs, relationships and marriages, and your classic sitcom stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. Whereas I feel like the day of the network sitcoms has kind of come and gone, where most of them start to get stale or boring, or for a crowd that's not really us. But Grand Crew just works, and it's hilarious. And then we've almost caught all the way up on History of the World Part 2, the big Mel Brooks comeback with Nick Kroll and Ike Barinholtz. And I love Nick Kroll. I loved The Kroll Show. I loved him in The League. Oh, Hello, we saw before it was on Broadway. We were hip to that, him and John Mulaney. So anytime he's on screen, Zach's dying. He loves it. Some of the other stuff, I feel like they just serialized a bit too much of it. Like, we didn't have to keep coming back to the Civil War. Although I guess they ended that and it was fine. Or like the Russian Revolution, they keep coming back to. I feel like they could have had smaller, weirder sketches just about all different history stuff. And they kind of stuck to a few things, maybe a little too long.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's definitely funny. Some of the bits are really funny. Like, I think we just watched, what was it? The Beatles, like, Get Back documentary. So they did a spoof on that about.
What they're doing with Jesus is really funny.
Yeah,
because
the Jesus is
they're
really
doing
funny.
They're doing the Jesus story, but just with all different types of spoofs. So they did a Curb Your Enthusiasm one. This was the new Beatles documentary that was just the talk of the town. Now they kind of did a spoof on that. But then there's some other ones like the Russian Revolution, the Civil War, where it just keeps coming back to the same characters, which is fine.
I mean, so does the Jesus one, but the Jesus one, like, I don't know, is done way better. I don't know why I like it so much more, but yeah, all the other ones I'm just not like loving. I mean, I'm definitely like laughing here and there, but yeah, it's okay.
Again, a weird sketch they just did for one episode was the statues thing with Kublai Khan and just like a Jersey guy selling statues.
Well, the Kublai Khan one was funny.
Kroll, yeah, but that's a one-off. So they could have done a little more of those weird things.
All right, so now I'm going to hit some reality TV. I've been watching so much reality TV lately. I don't know what's wrong with me. First, onto something that both Zach and I watch with a ton of our friends.
Oi, 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 yeah, hey, yucca, yucca, yay, way, waka, wuka, wa.
That's not the song.
Whatever.
Survivor. I'm absolutely loving every single member of the purple team, the very dwindling purple team, because somehow they keep losing everything. Yeah. It's just so good. Like,
Great characters.
Yeah, I really think that they have to like do like a tribe swap or mix up, because there's no way they can like.
There's only 3 people left.
Yeah.
On that tribe.
Exactly. So they have to like reorganize the tribe somehow.
Yeah, maybe they just go into twosies next episode.
Twosies? What do you mean?
Like 2 tribes. Just split the 3 people up.
Yeah, maybe. Well, then they would switch them all up.
Yeah.
I don't know. There has to be something, but yeah, I just love Carolyn and Jam Jam. They're so funny.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of bummed that they're at odds right now.
Yeah,
like, I
they
want
were
them
a
to be best
fun
friends.
team, and now it's all falling apart.
I know.
She got swayed in by that other new guy.
Yeah. Are they our last two people left?
In the fantasy?
Yeah, because we have a fantasy
Jam.
team.
No, the Lauren, I think, on the Orange Tribe.
I don't remember her.
She's
Did
the one
she
that
get
has
swapped?
The birthmark on her neck.
Oh, I didn't realize we had her.
Yeah.
Okay.
We lost.
Yeah,
Our
we're doing
fantasy team
so
is
bad.
terrible.
I know.
But yeah, it's interesting this season. I noticed. So I had said about the last few that like the people that really play the game they're never going to win again. It felt like Survivor got very woke, which is totally fine. I love all the inclusion, but it feels like this season people are going after the unassuming women that will sneak up on you. Like they got rid of Sarah.
Yeah, they've gotten rid of a lot of
Ellen,
women. Yeah, so far this
because
season.
those were the two that last season Gabler won, but the two before that, the two winners. So the people filming this season we're currently watching probably didn't see Gabler win because they had probably filmed it like it probably hadn't been totally out. So all they had seen was two pretty unassuming younger girls kind of sneak up at the very end and take the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe.
So now they're just getting rid of all of those women, which is interesting how people react to what has most recently happened. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it won't be like it won't be all the men. Like Carolyn's in it to win it. She's a wacko.
So.
She's
oh
a
my God.
wackadoo.
Yeah, I hope people think like, oh no, she's too kooky to win. And then I hope she sweeps it.
Yeah.
And then we win.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next show I want to talk about is Top Chef. I absolutely love this season so far. I loved meeting all the chefs from around the world. The only thing I wasn't thrilled about is there are 4 American chefs out of the 16 that are that they started with. And I just kind of wanted or wished that it was all like winners from around the world, maybe one American. But I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, like I just wanted more people I didn't know, I guess. But in general, I absolutely love it. Like I'm having fun. They're in London. I'm so happy that they brought like a different city, a different country into the mix. And yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, they introduced that there's a lot of different Top Chefs, which makes sense. We all know all these reality shows have like different offshoots, like The Voice Turkey and whatever. So it seems like they've represented 6 or 7 of them because there's multiple Canadians, there's multiple Americans, there's 2 from the Middle East ones. Like we were saying, and then they brought in the host from Top Chef South Africa, but they didn't have any contestants from Top Chef South Africa. So why, again, maybe people said no. That's been my thought, is like these 16 people were not the first 16 they asked. This is just what they were left with. Like some of the Americans were like, why is this person? There's so many other people that could have been on it that won or were better.
Yeah.
And so I assume people said no, but I don't know. It would have been cool if there was one representative from each.
Yeah,
if there
I
are
agree.
16 different versions.
No, there are. They said it was like 28.
Yeah.
So I'm just
like one winner. Everyone was a winner.
Yeah, that's what I kind of wished.
Country,
yeah.
Which would have been really cool, but maybe people said no, but I don't know.
Well, I'm also thinking like, all right, so there's been like how many seasons of the US version? Maybe there's
20.
not as many seasons.
Oh, certainly not.
Of like, from other countries. So who knows? Maybe they just don't have that many people to pick from, but who knows? Anyway, love the show. So another show that Zach and I have been watching together is Next in Fashion. Don't try and deny it.
Yeah, I got caught up in it. I think I missed the first episode and then I saw the second one. I've always watched the fashion shows with you. I like fashion.
I know you do.
Secretly.
Yeah, so this is on Netflix. It's hosted by Tan French, and Gigi France.
I think so.
Oh.
Tan France. I think.
So, I just made him French. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and Gigi Hadid.
Yeah, Tan France.
Yeah, Tan France. And this made me really like Gigi Hadid. Not that I didn't like her before, but like I honestly had never heard her speak before. And this just like, I don't know, made her kind of endearing. Like she actually got super emotional when like they were sending a couple people home. And I don't know, I just thought it was really amazing.
Yeah. The personification, not really, better word, of supermodels. I guess that had always been a thing. But kind of like the NBA, where the younger generation now is just better at being more personable. I feel like it's happened now. I just came up with this theory that it's like they've learned from, so Tyra Banks and Heidi Klum and all them have had their own shows, but they've always been like a little icy and mean, right? Like that's kind of like Heidi Klum is always kind of like, not.
Yeah, I would say like Gigi Hadid grew up with social media.
Right, yeah,
so
that's what I'm
she's
saying.
always kind of had to be like performing in a way, even though it was like she chose it. But like Tyra Banks, like I don't like her TV show was the first time ever
Yeah.
that she's had to like do that.
But I also
And
mean
also
like,
I think the industry has changed. I mean,
True.
at least I think it
True.
has. I
Hopefully.
don't know. Yeah.
yeah, we're led to believe everything's not as horrible as it used to be. But like, so both Hadids, because Bella seemed nice too when she was on it, and we kind of like Cara Delevingne has become like an actress.
I know you love her.
No, but I just mean like she seems like just a nice,
you
like
know.
amicable person in
Yeah.
the things that they've shown, and then Emrata, I don't know, they just seem more like humans.
Yeah, no, they do. They do. I mean, that's kind of what happens with social media. Everyone's so much more accessible. But in general, I just really like how this show kind of has mixed designers from all different backgrounds, people who do streetwear, people who do more glam, people who design men's clothes, design women's clothes.
Crazy doll clothes.
Yeah.
That one girl.
I just feel like it's really fun. And I do think like it's probably hard to compare these different styles, but I do really enjoy seeing them. And it really is like, they all obviously have like different challenges every week. So obviously the person who performs the weakest goes home. Yeah, I just had a really fun time. We kind of binged it over a couple days. And yeah, it was his second season, I should say. So I watched the first season without you.
Oh my God.
I
What?
know.
I knew that.
You have to go back and watch
Nah,
it.
I won't. I'll watch season 3. Yeah, it was cool. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Tan seems like a nice guy.
I know. And they wear clothes
so good.
well. Oh my gosh.
They were always
I know.
matching. Definitely everything they wore was definitely custom.
Yeah, they
I
look
wonder
so
who
good.
the person that's designing their clothes and is not competing on the show. It's a weird job, right?
Yeah.
It's like maybe that person's already more successful because they have this job.
I feel like it's mostly styling. Like this clothes are already like existing. It's not like
maybe not.
Yeah.
They're
All right.
perfectly matched sometimes.
They were. I know, they looked so good. So I'm going to shout out 2 reality dating shows I watched. The Bachelor just finished. I honestly don't know why I still watch the show. The Bachelor himself was so bland. I honestly can't stand him. And I don't want to say him by name because it's just like, I don't want to like put that out on him. But
It's my name.
I know his name is Zach. But yeah, I don't know if I can keep watching the show. I mean, I say that now,
Yeah,
but I know I'm going to still watch it.
You've said that for like 3 years now.
Well,
I
also,
think, or
I
3
watch
seasons.
it because you kicked me out to play video games.
It's true.
So it's just like something to have on in the background while I'm like looking on my phone. And
Well,
then I
now
get to be a part of the conversation of social media and whatever.
True. Now you've learned that there's another show that has 60 episodes a season that you can watch instead of The Bachelor.
63. So
absurd.
speaking of a show that's anything but bland, Love Island UK, I just finished it. So I didn't watch it from the beginning because I was late to it, but I caught up. It's over now. I am obsessed with it. So I would say like it airs in the UK a week before it airs here in the US. Reality dating show where it's like, I want to say they have like 5 women, 5 men, and they're constantly bringing in new men and new women into this house that they're all living in. And honestly, like the thing that I love about this show the most is watching the friendships. Like they are so nice to each other, like especially the women. They're all lifting each other up. They're all saying like, screw him, or oh my God, I'm so happy for you, even though they're all like interested in like the same people. Like it's all crazy and I love it. I mean, it does obviously get a little I would say, feisty in there between some people, but I really enjoyed watching it.
It's like the Great British Bake Off of Stupping.
Sure.
Can you explain to me how is it like there's a winners
Yeah.
like The Bachelor? How does that work? Isn't it just them hanging out in a house all year?
So the thing is that I still can't really wrap my head around it, but this is happening like live. Like they are not living in the house right now, but let's just say they are living currently in a house. We are watching it, and the turnaround time is like a day. So we're seeing things on our TV that happened yesterday. And people, the public as they're called, get to vote on their favorite couples or the least favorite couples. And then whoever gets the least amount of votes gets kicked out of the house.
Oh.
Sometimes it's also based on the people in the house. They get to vote to kick out people. But then at the end, there's, let's say, 4 couples left, and the public gets to pick their favorite couple, and they get £50,000.
So it's a popularity contest.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, all the people seem really great. They're all so nice. Yeah,
Righto.
I know, and I can't stop speaking with a British accent. I freaking love the Brits.
And you learned all this slang.
I did.
All right, so that was a lot of television. That's what do we think? Succession, thumbs up. Yellowjackets, thumbs up. Shrinking, thumbs up. Ted Lasso, thumbs down. Mando, thumbs way down for me. Grand Crew, thumbs up. History of the World, thumbs medium. Is that a thing? Survivor, up. Top Chef, up. Bachelor, Love Island, next in fashion. Man, we talked about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Did everybody catch up on all these things? Hopefully you did. Ooh, next episode, what are we going to talk about? Succession. I think Succession and Yellowjackets we're probably just going to talk most weeks, unless Yellowjackets kind of falls off a cliff, which I doubt. But Succession is going to be great. We're going to talk about it. We're actually seeing an early premiere of Air on Wednesday. So I don't think we'll go in depth because nobody will be able to see it by the time it comes out. But we'll say if it was good or not and some other discussions, and then we'll find a bunch of other stuff to watch. There's endless content to constantly be consuming.
Thank you, Craig, for our production assistance, and thank you, John Welsh, for our intro and outro music.
Subscribe so you know every time we post an episode. If you are a regular listener and you've been liking our tent, please write a review, give us 5 stars. It helps other people find it. Share your thoughts on social media about your favorite new podcast. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. We may or may not be launching us on YouTube very soon, probably with the next episode. I think we're going to have some videos. All the different segments cut up into different YouTube videos. And feel free to email us and share all your thoughts at talkintent@gmail.com. From our living rooms to yours, what do you want to watch?